Hey, this is Mike from Run Testers, and in this video I am going to be reviewing these. These are Philips' bone conduction sports headphones. Now they do have a really long model number, so if you want to try and find them, that's what you're going to have to search for. But ultimately these are the only bone conduction headphones they have in their collection right now. Now I have had these for a while, and what I wanted to do is do a little bit more longer term testing with it, really because I think I've tested a lot of bone conduction headphones, and I think one of the question marks is durability. I think even with kind of the top end ones like Shokz, I think, there's definitely question marks there. So what I wanted to do was kind of wear these long term, switch between using the Shokz headphones and my general kind of use truly wireless headphones that I normally use as well, and see whether they would stick around and whether these would be ones that I would still use. I think what's really important here, and if you're watching this video, is if you've been using bone conduction headphones and you felt a little bit underwhelmed by the kind of power and the kind of bass you get from bone conduction headphones, these might be an option for you, which I'll get into later. So yeah, as I said, I've been using these long term. This is kind of a long term review of how I've gotten with these headphones, whether I think they're better than Shokz's range of headphones as well, whether these are options you should kind of consider as runners. So yeah, here is my take on the Philips bone conduction sports headphones with the very long name. So in terms of design, fits and controls, all pretty good for me overall. They're nice and light, they've been comfortable to wear. I haven't had really issues in terms of wearing these. They're pretty much, Philips has gone for, pretty much the standard go-to design for bone conduction headphones at the moment. So this kind of headband style look, which kind of looks a little bit bulkier here, I think, in terms of up towards the arms, but ultimately you don't feel that. They feel nice and light to wear. I've worn it with or without hats when I've been running, and I've had no issues in terms of that fit and then kind of staying put ultimately. You are getting IP67 water and dust kind of resistant rating or sweat resistant rating. I've run in the rain a few times with them. I've had no issues from that point of view. As I said, I've been using this long term, and from a durability point of view, they're still working. I've had no major problems to kind of really report on that front. You do get physical controls, similar a little bit to what you're getting on the kind of Shokz headphones. You're getting kind of this multi-function button to kind of play and pause, kind of answer calls. You've got a microphone here to kind of handle calls as well. You've got this kind of physical volume buttons as well, and you can hold those down to skip tracks as well, though I found that a little bit tricky to do on the run ultimately. Also, these volume buttons are, they're quite close together as well, which, maybe they should be a little bit more separate, I think, personally. That's kind of a minor thing for me, I think, but ultimately the controls work pretty well in terms of if you want to kind of adjust volume or you want to play and pause. As I say, you want to take a call from that kind of microphone as well. They've generally worked pretty well. So yeah, overall me, the fit has been solid. They're not heavy, nice and light, everything you would kind of expect from kind of running headphones. The controls are generally strong as well, and you've got that kind of sweat to water resistant rating on top as well to make sure you're getting a good level of durability and protection too. Just a little note in terms of what else you get in the box for these headphones. It basically is just the USB-C charging cable, which is a kind of relatively nice long cable, which is always good to see. And then you've got kind of a soft kind of pouch to kind of carry these in. I didn't really use that. They've been perfectly fine in terms of kind of throwing it in my bag. But if you want to kind of have something to kind of carry them in, you do have that in the box too. But yeah, Philips are keeping it relatively simple and basic in terms of what you're getting in the box along with these headphones. Now, a big area to talk about these headphones is sound performance, and that's really why I think they really kind of stand out in terms of other bone conduction headphones. Now, first of all, what you need to know is there is a kind of companion app, and that lets you, and that's available on Android and iOS. I'll get a little bit more into my experience of those two apps. And essentially what that lets you do is that you switch between a kind of vocal mode and a bass mode. Now the vocal mode is a bit like, something you would use if you're just listening to kind of podcasts, audiobooks, and there's an emphasis on the kind of voice, on the kind of vocals, when you don't need that kind of big bass, you're listening to kind of up-tempo music. And then you've got that big bass mode as well. And what you're getting there is a bit more power, a bit more warmth in terms of the sound performance, and there is a noticeable difference in terms of that. And I think in terms of the sound performance of other bone conduction headphones I've tested, that bass mode is probably the best sound in terms of power that you get. Now, when you do get up to those kind of high volumes, you get a little bit more of the vibrations from those kind of transducers, kind of, you know, creating that or generating that bone conduction kind of audio, but it's not uncomfortable in any way. Ultimately, it's really nice, I think, in terms of the sound performance you're getting in that bass mode. The same with the vocal mode. I think if you know, a bit like with Shokz headphones and a lot of other bone conduction headphones, it's very similar in terms of that audio profile. You know, you've got a big emphasis on voice, and you know, things are a little bit clearer, and there's a good balance between the awareness and giving you, you know, the sound from your headphones that you want to hear. So just a note on the companion app. Now, these are available to use with Android and iOS. Now, when I initially first started testing these, I was using the Android app, and you know, it's a relatively straightforward app. I had no kind of issues. I could switch between the two modes. More recently, I've updated the app. I've had issues accessing those features now, which hopefully Philips are kind of looking at that and realise there's some kind of bugs there. I don't think it's just for these headphones. I think it's for all of Philips headphones at the moment in terms of the app. Now, I've been using it on my iPhone as well. I've had no issues on that front. The apps work fine. I've been able to switch between the two kind of audio modes that are available here. You're also getting a running light mode. Now, up top here are two kind of couple of LED kind of lights, you know, sizable enough to kind of offer you a little bit of a kind of extra visibility. You can set them to just stay on. They can flash. They can kind of pulsate. You know, they can kind of go quicker or slow in terms of that flashing. You know, it's just a nice little extra to have on there that, you know, I didn't think, you know, Philips would probably include or, you know, think about. And, you know, it does actually help in terms of, you know, if you're out kind of running a little bit, you know, in kind of darker areas, they are bright enough, and I think, you know, they work well enough, effectively enough to give you that extra bit of visibility. So a nice little touch there, and a reason to have that app on your phone to kind of control those things. Yeah, but ultimately the app's pretty straightforward. As I said, a few issues with the Android app at the moment, but the iOS app has been absolutely fine for me. So in terms of battery life, you're getting pretty good numbers here with the Philips bone conduction headphones, but it really depends on what kind of mode you're using them in. So basically, top end, you're getting 9 hours of kind of music time, 8 hours of talk time. But as I found, if you use the kind of bigger kind of bass mode, kind of listening mode, that does kind of drop down significantly from those kind of 8 to 9 hours. I found from an hour's running with that kind of mode in place, I was seeing a 20% drop off in battery life. So that would work out to about 5 hours in terms of kind of playback time, which is a drop off from that number, but actually it's still, you know, it will get you through, I think, you know, a decent kind of longish marathon, I think, you know, based on that. You do have, I mean, it uses USB-C charging. You've got a nice little compartment here that's kind of protected here as well. You do have a quick charge feature, so I think it's 15 minutes will get you an hour of charge. So actually, you know, when you do get down, you know, it doesn't take you a long time to get back up and get you enough time to get out for kind of an hour and a bit of running. But yeah, so basically you just have to keep mindful of the fact that if you want those kind of 8 to 9 hours, you have to use it in that kind of vocal kind of mode where you're not using more of the kind of the power in these headphones. But when you do move to that power kind of bass mode, then it will kind of drop down significantly, but you're still getting a good 5 hours, I think, which, you know, I was happy with. So our verdict on the Philips bone conduction sports headphones are that after long-term testing, these are very good bone conduction headphones for running. We would say, I think they're up there with Shokz in terms of what you get, in terms of fit, in terms of the controls. Crucially, you are getting sound that is definitely noticeably more powerful, a little bit more bassy. You've got those kind of two kind of audio modes that you can kind of pick from. And you still get that awareness, I think, when you're out running in busy roads, but you just get a little bit more oomph in that audio, I think, as well, to kind of balance things out. If you're kind of looking at those kind of other kind of alternatives, they are, you know, Shokz are the kind of OpenRun and OpenRun Pro. Those are kind of the ones that you're going to compare these to, generally because of the price of where they sit. I would say that with the Shokz, you are getting something a little bit kind of lighter and thinner, just a little bit. I mean, these are not heavy, but ultimately you're getting something a bit more kind of slimmer, I think, as well. I think the sound on the Shokz is a bit more balanced overall. You might not get that kind of big power and bass you get on these, but I think it's a little bit more balanced in terms of what you're getting. And then you've got kind of strong durability rating there as well, like you do on these headphones too. So I think, you know, if you wanted to spend a little bit less than kind of the Shokz OpenRun Pro, you wanted that bigger, kind of more powerful sound, you know, you want it enough for kind of maybe 5 hours to have that kind of bigger bass mode, then, you know, these are headphones to definitely consider. If you want that kind of more balanced sound, you want, you know, the thinnest, kind of slimmest kind of bone conduction headphones you can get, and you can live without that, then I would probably go for the Shokz headphones. I think there's other cheaper headphones you could probably look at as well, but ultimately I think these have been a really good option for me. I'm still using them. I think that's the biggest kind of endorsement I can give them. I've kind of used them more than Shokz headphones generally, just because you get that extra kind of bit more, you know, a bit more in the kind of sound department. But yeah, overall really strong option. If you're looking for a pair of bone conduction headphones for running that you want, that offers a bit more in terms of sound and that kind of nifty little running light feature as well you've got there as well, then these are well worth considering. So there you have it. That is our take on the Philips bone conduction sports headphones. Now, if you are looking for other headphone reviews, we have lots on the channel. If you're looking for something a little bit different for your running, we have just done a kind of big headphone roundup as well, so definitely go and check that out. These are in there as well, but if these aren't really your cup of tea and you're looking for something a little bit different, hopefully you'll find something in that video instead. As always, like and subscribe, hit that little bell to find out about our latest videos, and yeah, I'll see you for the next Run Testers video.